Now, if you haven't heard of this case that I'm going to be talking about today, then this is going to be a real treat for you sicko serial killer lovers out there. But this case is probably going to turn you off eating pork. Now, the case that I'm going to be talking about today is one of Canada's most prolific serial killers in history. And this guy's body count is like one of the highest I've seen. And I'm talking about none other than the Piggy Palace murders. Hello and welcome back, or welcome to my channel. If you don't know what's going on here, I'm a horror artist and I like to draw what I talk about in the videos. Now, I love scary facts, true crimes, anything to do with the paranormal, aliens and conspiracies, and I love to draw, so I like to combine all of that into these videos to hopefully bring you a unique experience. Now, if you want to support me in any way, shape or form, I do have a Redbubble store where you can purchase the prints of the illustrations that I draw in my videos, or if you are a creative person, I have an Etsy store where I create felt toy patterns of horror movie characters and other designs that I have on there. So if you like following a pattern to design a toy made out of felt or even like a plushie, head across there, you might like some shit on there. Now, with that being said, let's get on with the video and let's get on with the drawing. Robert Pickton was born on the 24th of October 1949 in British Columbia, Canada. His parents owned a pig farm in Port Coquitlam in British Columbia, which was located 27 kilometres from Vancouver. When Robert and his younger brother David got older, they too worked at the farm, but their mother was a bit of a slave driver and made the boys work in absolutely disgusting conditions for long periods of time. They quite often went to school unbathed and reeking of pig shit. Robert was very attached to his mother, and he stayed away from his abusive father, as their father had no role in raising them whatsoever. Robert raised a pet calf that he loved absolutely dearly, but his parents, one time that he was at school, slaughtered it on him, and this absolutely devastated him. Robert had intellectual trouble at school and had to go into a special class as he kept failing normal classes, but in 1963 Robert dropped out of school to work as a meat cutter, which he did for 7 years until he went back to the pig farm to work there full time. Now, what I'm about to tell you will give you a bit of a rundown on what kind of parents brought them into this world. In 1967, David, Robert's younger brother, was driving his father's ute when he slammed into a 14-year-old boy named Tim Barrett, who was walking along the side of the road. So David freaked out, went back to his mother and told her everything. So both of them then went back to the spot where David had hit him, and his mother, Louise, checked the boy over and then just rolled him into a watery ditch on the side of the road where David hit him. And they left and went home. Tim was found the next day dead from drowning, as the other injuries sustained from David hitting him did not warrant anything fatal. In 1978 and 1979, both parents died and Robert and David inherited the farm. They had a sister, but she had absolutely nothing to do with the farm as she was sent away, so she didn't have to be in that environment. So the brothers sold off parts of the land, leaving them with 17 acres and $5 million richer. Robert was described as a quiet person, a bit of a half-wit, and hard to start a conversation with, and over time the pig farm became a really creepy looking place. They even had a 272 kilo boar that would act as a guard dog to guard the property, and apparently this thing would charge people and bite. In 1996, the Pickton brothers started a non-profit charity called the Piggy Palace Good Times Society, so they could organise and manage, quote-unquote, special functions and events. These so-called charity events were actually rave parties that they held in one of the slaughterhouses that they converted for this purpose. The parties became very well known and popular for the locals to attend, and sometimes up to 2,000 people would party there, which included Hells Angels bikies and sex workers. In 1997, Robert handcuffed a sex worker named Wendy Lynn Staedtler and repeatedly stabbed her after paid sex, before she managed to escape by stabbing him in the face. Wendy's intestines were even hanging out as she was running, and she reported him to police after fleeing to a neighbouring property, where Robert then was arrested for attempted murder, but the charges were later dropped. Bill Hiscox was a farm worker that worked on the Pickton farm, and he really started to notice some really weird shit going on. After the incident with Wendy, the next 3 years after that would see women who would come to visit the farm just mysteriously vanish. Also during this time, the brothers had legal pressure to shut down anything to do with the parties. Now, on the streets of Vancouver's downtown east side, women that were either sex workers, homeless, or vulnerable drug-addicted women were going missing between 1991 and 2001. By 2001, farm worker Bill Hiscox made a decision to tip off the police to come and investigate. They did, and were initially there to seize illegal firearms, but they found so much more than they bargained for, and then this became the most disturbing serial killer case in Canada's history. While police searched the property, they found personal items of missing women. After DNA tests were done on the property, Robert's evil life began to unravel. The DNA test revealed at least 33 DNA evidence of women scattered around the property. Further investigation revealed how Robert was murdering the women. The women would either be picked up by Robert or they came out to the farm. Robert would either tie them up or handcuff them, then stab them or inject them with antifreeze. After they were dead, their bodies were taken to a meat plant nearby or grounded up and fed to his pigs. Authorities even warned the public in 2004 that Robert may have ground up human bodies with the pig carcasses and were packaged and sold to the public. In the end, after all DNA testing was done, they were able to pin 26 official murder charges to Robert. A .22 revolver, a .357 Magnum with ammo, a dildos used as silencers, night vision goggles, handcuffs and syringes were confiscated. Remains of victim Mona Wilson were even found in a garbage bin in the slaughterhouse. Severed heads, hands and feet were found in the freezers, and bodies were just hanging from meat hooks. Allegedly, Robert admitted on police videotapes that he would pick up sex workers, handcuff them, and strangle them, possibly even rape them, then bleed them out, gut them, before feeding them to his pigs. A witness named Lynn Ellingson came forward after Robert was arrested and said that she had seen Robert skinning a woman that was hanging from a meat hook, but she didn't say anything straight away because she feared for her life. While Robert was in his cell, he admitted to a cellmate that happened to be an undercover officer that he had killed 49 women, and the only regret that he had was that he couldn't make it to 50 because he got sloppy with his work. On the 11th of December 2007, and also in August of 2010, Robert was found guilty of 20 counts of first-degree murder, 6 counts of second-degree murder, and was sentenced to life in prison with no parole after 25 years. The Picktons really lived an absolutely disgusting life as a pig farm and slaughterhouse, besides the murders of course, with authorities apparently finding animal shit, and I mean shit, in the house that they lived in, with the tables, chairs, floors, walls and even ceilings covered in feces and mud, as the pigs were obviously coming inside the home too, and the Picktons rarely showered and the place just smelt downright horrible. Because Robert was cutting up these women and feeding most of them to his hundreds of pigs, it took the government 2 years and $70 million to sift through all the soil and feces on the farm to find the bone fragments of the victims that were mainly in the pigsties. Authorities believe that the body count may be higher, as much as 69 women. And Robert could have started killing these women back in 1983. His brother David denies knowing anything about Robert's killing sprees, as he lived a few hundred yards away from the slaughterhouse and he was always out of town. The Pickton farm is now believed to be in the hands of developers. They have bulldozed the slaughterhouse and sheds and is going to be turned into a housing estate, and a very haunted housing estate if you ask me. But here is a recent development on the case. On the 31st of May 2024, so only roughly a few weeks ago, Robert died. One of the inmates at Port Cartier Institution speared him in the head with a broken broom handle. It put him into a coma, but he later died. He was 74 years old. So let me know what you think about this case, and if you have heard of it, and what other details have you heard. Now, the illustration that I decided to do for this video today is I had this idea of basically flipping the script and having a pig gut Robert Pickton, because as far as I'm concerned, what he did to these women, he deserves to have it done to him. So the illustration that I did portrays a very mutated, kind of like Frankenstein pig that's been basically put together from like the biggest, most strongest, meanest pigs out there, and boars and whatnot, and then this thing is just going to town on Robert Pickton. It is gutting him and cutting him up into little pieces while he is still alive, and so he can feel everything that is going on, because I reckon he would have absolutely put these poor women, and I don't care if they're sex workers, like that doesn't make them any lesser of a human being, it's just they unfortunately made a unfortunate life decision, but they did not deserve this as far as I'm concerned. Now, I kind of feel a little bit better about this illustration. This is kind of sort of getting back to how I used to be able to draw, and I was just overall a lot more happier with my art this time, and I'm hoping that I'm gonna hopefully get out of the funk that I was in, and I can continue producing work that I'm happy with, so I can, you know, continue and not get disheartened and feel like I just want to throw it all in and not do it again. So I don't know if it was a change of location that sort of helped me do this particular drawing, because like a lot of people who have been with me right from the beginning of my YouTube journey will know that I have an office downstairs of my house, and it overlooks like a pool, and that's where I do a lot of my stuff. I've got a big desk there and my computer's right there, and I've had to basically relocate everything upstairs, like my computer, all my work that I do, like all my my camera and all my watercolors and brushes and everything. I've had to basically bring upstairs with the modem as well. Like luckily we've got a modem port up here, and I've had to plug everything in up here and work up here, because I have a 14-year-old Staffy who is currently very sick, and he's got some fluid on his lungs, and I have to watch over him. I've got to help him down the ramp and everything. So yeah, he's not a well boy, and I'm hoping he's going to pull through this. He had some teeth removed 2 months ago, and the anesthetic really messed him up. And yes, I know what you're thinking, he's probably too old to be put under anesthetic, but we had to make the decision because he had some extremely rotten teeth to the point where he was actually miserable and he couldn't even open his mouth. He was in that much pain. So yeah, it was a risk that we took, and yeah, he hasn't fared real well, and he's still having effects from the anesthetic. He's having seizures now, which he never had before, and yeah, he's now got fluid on his lungs even 2 months later, now that he's developed about a week ago. So yeah, I'm hoping he's going to pull through. He's on diuretics to get the fluid out of his lungs, and I'm just hoping he's going to pull through, because he's my little boy and I love him dearly, and I don't know what I'm going to do without him. But anyway, where I was going with that was the fact that maybe changing my location up for some reason has made me draw a little bit better, you know, just a change of scenery. So yeah, anyway, that's enough of that, and that is it from me. Hopefully you liked this video today, and if you do like this kind of content, like and subscribe. Dislike it, I really couldn't give two shits what you do, because any interaction that you give me goes towards the algorithm for other people to find me, and hopefully you watch whatever is left of this video, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.